Uh, I'll introduce Mathur sir to entire unit council. So for the 66th year ANDC Trophy, we have Manoj Mathur sir as our moderator. I would like to welcome him on dais. And I'll introduce him to entire unit council. Professor Manoj Mathur teaches at the School of Planning and Architecture, New Delhi, where he has headed the Department of Architecture, Industrial Design and Urban Design. Earlier, as a practicing architect, he has designed prize-winning public projects like the Sai Baba Temple Complex, the AIIMS Flyover, and the FDDI Noida. And as I already told you, he was one of the jury panel for the 68th year ANDC Trophy. And whatever we are looking forward to have this year as ANDC Trophy, we couldn't have found the better name or better person on dais. I welcome Manoj sir on the dais for the 66th year ANDC Trophy.
Thank you, Nikhil, and nice to meet all of you here. So where are you all? Seems to be a nice auditorium. Where is this?
So we are at Reva University, Bangalore.
Okay, great. Nice venue you chose. So how do we go about it? I take you through the competition brief, or
whatever you feel, sir. You want to go with the brief first, we can.
Has the brief been shared with everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. All right. So nice to have you all here, guys. The competition this time is takes its roots from what we did in the 60th year. So yes, I was there for the jury and also for the formulation, the idea. I had some part to play there too. And that's what gives us the courage to go with this format for the 66th ANDC, where essentially this is not simply about doing a design, but it's about building also. So it's a design and build competition, really. The competition will be judged on the built design. It will not be judged purely on the design as it is drawn or presented. It will be the built design which will have to be presented. So that is really the big difference which has to be kept in mind. With that as the first important point which I have to convey, the rest of the things which follow, what is to be designed and what are the conditions for that, they have already been shared. It's a few pages, so it will demand your patience to go through it. And nonetheless, I will try to speak it all out here so that you can hear me, and possibly that is a better way in which questions will come to mind, and you can then ask me some questions about it, which I will try to answer. And after that, at the end of it, there will be a session which Nikhil has put a title to it. What we are going to have that on, it's about leadership and why that's important in architecture. So in terms of the competition itself, the idea here is to build a structure, and in keeping with the theme of this NASA, this is assemblage, the idea here is to gather, and that being one of the primary pillars of the competition. We want to gather many things. We want to gather people. We want to gather certainly all the participants who come for the NASA. We want to gather ideas more than anything else. We want to gather ideas from everywhere, not just from students of architecture, but from students of all walks of life. That is an important aspect here. And another big difference, that we are not only asking architecture students to join in, but we are asking students who may be doing anything at all, and they might be anywhere at all, and they might be in any college at all. If they have an idea to contribute, we want to have it, and we want to collect it, and we want to put it together with other ideas, which is one of the major aims here, that ideas should not go to waste. Ideas should be collected and kept and worked upon when the time comes. So what is the idea that we are looking for? So we want to put 2 and 2 together and make 200. The idea which we are looking for is about solving 2 problems with 1 shot. So what are the 2 problems? On the one hand, we have shortage, which we are always talking about, shortage of space. In India particularly, we are always talking about there being a shortage of building, of housing for people, so much of a shortage of infrastructure for people, and so much needs to get built so that we can have space for doing so many things that we want to do. That's on the one side. On the other side, we have a problem, which is that whatever we build, whenever we build, there is something that we do which we don't want done. And this is something which we are realizing now. We have been building in this manner for about 200 years, since the Industrial Revolution started. This is the way which has evolved, the way we build today, which is with all the materials that we build today, all the technology that we build today, the concrete, the steel, the bricks, the mortar. All of this has evolved over time, the last 200 years, since industrialized processes took root. And today we are saying that this way has problems. What problems? The problems are what we are seeing everywhere, and certainly Bangalore sees it quite a lot. This year, of course, we saw in Delhi also. And the problem is related to climate change. The problem is related to greenhouse gas emissions. The problem is related to carbon footprint. All of these things you've heard. Okay. The problem is basically related to what we build and the way we build. It is something which harms our environment. Now, there are many ways and evolved ways of understanding how this harm is done. But one very basic thing which is easy to understand how this harm happens is that whatever we build with, whatever the material it is, that material comes out of the earth. That material does not grow on earth, except for wood, bamboo, whatever things specifically which we know, which are things which grow. The clay for the bricks, the limestone for the concrete, and the iron ore for the steel rods, the aluminum for the windows, the copper for the wiring, everything comes out of the earth. It has to be mined one way or the other. And if you have seen a mine really, you will know how violent an activity mining is for the earth. So if you have seen an open mine, you will know it is visibly violent. But if you've been inside a closed mine, a dark shaft of a mine, and if you've gone a few kilometers, I don't think many of you would have, but you will find that what we are doing under the surface, it's not visible on the surface, but below the surface, we are hollowing the earth out. And we are hollowing a whole lot of earth out to extract only very little of useful material. So out of a room full of iron ore, just 1 cubic centimeter of iron probably comes out. That is the proportion of how much damage we do to the earth to produce the materials that we use. And if we say that this is how we are going to do it, this is how we are going to build, and this is how we are going to extract the materials, you can imagine in times to come how much harm we will do. The problem with all this is that whatever is extracted from the earth, it never goes back, it doesn't get renewed. So it is getting less and less and less and less every time. And anything finite someday will come to an end. This basic thing is very simple to understand. So yes, we should be promoting, on the one hand, materials which can actually grow. Wood is one of them, bamboo is another one of them. We are talking of building with biomass. We're talking about what we can do with leaves, for example. All of those things are matters of research which is going on. But on the other hand, there is a huge resource which needs to be addressed. And I have jumped the gun, actually. I have called it a resource. So the first thing is to recognize that it is a resource. And what is that? It is the garbage. It is the stuff which we throw away. It is the stuff which we do not use anymore. So all our cities, everywhere, we have a problem of what we call solid waste management. This material, which is discarded material, which is waste material of all kinds. It may come from buildings, it may not come from buildings, it may come from Swiggy, or it may come from Pizza Hut, or it may come from any other such source. Okay. There'll be a time very soon when a lot of you will go and get married. And at that time, just keep a track of how much waste you generate. Now, of course, it's a good thing that you can send your invitation cards on WhatsApp, so that's a lot of saving actually. But otherwise, just the invitation cards create so much waste. And the fancier the card, the bigger the waste. And it'll be no use at all after the day you get married. And you just go to the junk. So that is something which is growing day by day, and we are doing nothing about it. It is a dangerous thing. It is taking up space. It is making our environment toxic. Sometimes when it catches fire, then it releases really, really deadly fumes and so on. So can we actually kill two birds with one stone? Can we devise a way in which this material, which is discarded, which is otherwise of no use, can we make buildings out of that? So there are clearly, we can say there are two categories here, which clearly come to mind of the material that we can use. We are talking about materials which has been used before and is no longer required to be used. We are talking of material which has been thrown away. It's useful still, but it's thrown away simply because it's out of fashion. We don't want to see it again. It doesn't give us any happiness anymore. We just throw it away. Okay. And then there is, of course, debris. So sometimes we just have to break some buildings because either the buildings are no longer useful, or they need to be replaced with bigger buildings, or sometimes we just want to break open a wall and create a window, simple thing. But it generates a whole wall of waste, useless material. When you break open a wall, very little of it is of use because you get brickbats, which you don't want to use anymore. You get, all powder mortar, which cannot be used as mortar anymore. And all of it goes into a dump. So there is building material waste. You buy a whole lot of tiles and you didn't take care while you were designing what dimension the room or bathroom should be. And you generated a whole lot of waste because the tiles had to be cut. And that cannot be used anywhere. So what happens? That goes to waste. So sometimes along the roads, you'll find there'll be heaps and heaps and heaps of stuff like that, which people quietly dump in the night, because if they do it in the daytime, the police will catch them. Okay, so they collect all the stuff. It's collected in the night. The contractor puts it in a truck or a rickshaw or a trailer or something like that, and goes to the outskirts somewhere and just quietly tips it over, and a heap will lie there of building material waste. The bigger the building which is getting constructed, the bigger waste it generates. Yes, there's a building which gets erected, but alongside a whole mountain of waste gets erected. So there is building material waste, which is one thing. And then there's a whole lot of domestic waste, which nowadays we think we are doing a great service. We just separate it, the wet waste and the dry waste and the food waste and the non-food waste. We do all this separation, but the point is all of it, then where does it go? Eventually, all the separation, it does go to some big heap somewhere. A lot of it is biodegradable and a lot of it is not. Biodegradable means over time, if you just leave it, it will rot and then it will turn into something which can go back into the earth. But 90% of the stuff should not go back into the earth. Because if it goes back into the earth after being degraded, it will cause more harm to the earth. We have processed it in such ways that when it goes into the earth, it will be poisonous. It probably harm plants, probably harm animals who eat from those plants and so on. So what do we do with this stuff? Can we use it in buildings? So this is stuff which has already come out of the earth. It's already processed. It's already used a lot of energy to create its body. So there's a lot of embodied energy which is already there in the building. And if it can continue to be a part of the building, then the new building will have had less consumption for embodied energy. Right? So these two things, if we put together, the mountain of waste on one side and the building requirement, the need to build so many buildings on the other, this competition is trying to put these two things together so that we come up with ideas which in future can actually give us a great advantage. So in terms of how much we harm the Earth's environment, that figure will come down. Today, it's said that about 35% of the problems, environmental problems in the world are because of the way we build, of the buildings that we create all over. So that being the theme, there are three words, which again, they are on the top of the brief, so that we can say that mantra and we can keep it away. That's what we normally do. We just read that mantra, reuse, reduce, recycle, and we say, yes, we know that, and we just keep it away. So this time we are saying, let's not keep it away, let's work on it. Let's actually do something about it. And the competition is trying to generate ideas where we do something about it. Okay, so that is the theme. What is it that you are going to build? This is what I'll talk about next. What is it you're going to build? This is a sample structure. Okay, so it's a structure which is going to demonstrate what can be done. So it can be temporary. After some time, you take it down. After demonstrating, you take it down, or it could be something which is permanent. If it's really good, it can just continue to stay, which of course will be excellent. If we can actually make a permanent structure and the users decide that, oh, this is too good to be taken down, let's just keep it, that would be a wonderful thing. But yes, if it's something which is only to demonstrate, but after some time it has to make way for something else because somebody has lent you the space. Okay, use the space for some time. After that, you will have to give it back. So be it. In which case, it should be easily dismantleable. So if it's temporary, then you have to make a way so that while bringing it down, you don't create a mess and you don't generate further waste. So you should take it down, retrieve maximum possible from it, generate minimum, which is waste. So this is about the structure being temporary or permanent. What should the structure be like? What should be the accommodation in it? We are saying it can be anything. Now that's a big field. What it can be? It can be so many things. It can be something which primarily we say should accommodate 6 people. It can have more, but whatever it is, 6 people, for the use of 6 people, it should be there. Now, what are these 6 people doing? They could be doing anything. These 6 people could be, 5 children and 1 teacher. And they are doing some practice for a play. So it's a practice room for a school theater. Okay. Or it is a small shop which is set up as a stall in the annual function day or in the sports day or something. And it's a stall where you can sell t-shirts. Or it could be an extension to a cafe or a restaurant or something on the rooftop where people can take the food out and sit there and they can eat. Or it's simply a structure in a park, where when it rains, then people can actually take shelter for some time and not get all soaked. So there has to be a purpose, and we are saying that this purpose is not private purpose. It's not for an individual, but it's for a group of people. And when we say group, we say 6 people. 6 people can be any gender, they can be any age, they can be children, they can be senior citizens, they can be workers, they can be students, whatever it is. They can be office goers, they can be people who are waiting for a bus, for example. You can even be a bus stand shelter for 6 people at least. Okay, so the idea is that it's a small structure, it is a single structure, it's a single space, it's a covered space, and for the use of 6 people, any use is possible. How big it should be? So how big it should be, we have given some examples. Nikhil, have you shared those pictures? Yeah, you can do here now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have shared the.
Okay, you've shared already. All right. So those are some examples of what we are talking about. So you can get some ideas. There are more and more and more things being done all over the world because the entire world is concerned. Something we have got to do. So let's generate ideas on how to do it. And I'm sure in your colleges as well, this is something which may be happening from time to time. There might be people who are coming, who are conducting workshops. There might be some bamboo workshop happening, or there might be some earth construction workshop happening, or there might be some workshop happening, even with waste materials. I'm sure many of you have filled plastic water bottles with sand and used that as bricks to construct a wall and a room and so on. Those are things which are being done quite frequently these days in all the colleges. So this is one take of a higher level. So those things you already know, you've already done. And can you find out new ideas like that, which can be demonstrated? That's what we are trying to do here, right? So the structure of this building, as I already said, has to be made with used material, which has been used before, pre-used, and has been taken out of a building or not in use anymore. It could be part of a building, or it could be part of a car or a bicycle, or it could be any other equipment, any machinery. It could be some old furniture, for example. It could be, a whole lot of furniture, tables and chairs, which were discarded when a multinational office decided they want to renovate, and they threw out all the old stuff. So maybe all of that can be used to create this structure. So the material to be used is very important. The material to be used should nominally be of 0 value. Nobody wants to do anything with it. So If you ask somebody, can I take it away? They'll be so happy. Oh, yes, you take it away. Okay, we don't want to see it anymore. You just take it away. And what do I have to pay for it? He said, no, 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 you don't have to pay anything for it. You want something paid to you so that you will carry it away. We'll be happy to do that also. That would be ideal, that people pay you to take that material away. Then it's perfect. That's fantastic. Okay. But otherwise, even if some material has to be bought, it is something which has got very, very little value. So the idea is to use those things which are not seen to be of value. Okay, and therefore it's something to do with keeping the costs down. That's an important aspect. You have to keep your costs down, right? The material that, or the structure that we are going to use, because we are saying that 6 people will use it, because we are saying that it will be in the public sphere, it's not something in somebody's house or somebody's private property. We have to be mindful that it has to be a safe structure. So it has to be structurally safe and it has to be fire safe. Okay? So when we say fire safe, an important thing to understand here, this leads to lots of misunderstandings actually, is that actually no building is ever fireproof. There's a difference between being fireproof and fire safe. Okay, so no building, even the one in which you are sitting, is fireproof. It can catch fire. But most likely it is fire safe. How? Because you can quickly get out of it and reach safety. Because when the fire starts to burn the building down, it will not burn up instantaneously. There will be some time gap in which you can actually safely exit the building. And probably there's a fire extinguishing system. So if it's a small fire, you need not even bother. Some sprinkler will come on and water will be sprayed and that fire will be doused there itself. And if it's in some corner where the fire is not reaching, there'll probably be fire extinguishers so that somebody can actually put out the fire by using the fire extinguisher. And there will be, of course, an alarm system which will say that, oh, there's a fire. This is not a drill. Everybody please come out. Okay, don't keep sitting there. Don't waste your time. Leave whatever you are carrying. Your safety is more important than your stuff. All of that kind of announcement will be made and you'll come out. So this is fire safe. Okay, so we would like that the structure is fire safe. That in case of fire, it just doesn't instantly burn down. And the people inside the structure have a chance to escape. Okay, so that is what has to be kept in mind. You have to have fire safety measures. And with that, you can actually use anything, almost anything that you care to use that you will find in the garbage. You will find in the garbage lots of things which will catch fire. That's a lots of things, even in anybody's house or in any building that we use, which will catch fire. But with fire safety measures, we can be reasonably sure that we will come out unharmed. Okay. So safety is important. Accommodation, as I already told you, this is what we want. The activities in it can be anything. The people using it could be anything. The material that we use could be anything as long as it is discarded material. Yes, all of the building, 100% of the building may be not possible to do with discarded material. Maybe to tie things, you actually have to buy a new rope or new wire. Okay, no problem. Go ahead and buy it. You can use new material also. But just keep in mind that the new material should not exceed 25% of the volume of all the materials used. 25% of the volume of all the materials used, that limit should not be exceeded for new materials. Actually, there's quite a lot. Okay, so if you are talking of wires and ropes and all that, how much of volume do you think they will constitute of all the rest of the building? Hardly 0.5%. So if I'm saying 25%, there is a lot of leeway to put in new material also. Okay, so don't be bogged down by that. There's enough freedom to use new materials, but the showcase is of using old materials. So they should not overpower the old materials in what is being presented, right? Now, in terms of what else? We had the structure, we had, what else was there? Those were the competition conditions. So in terms of assessment, when we are actually looking at the entries, what are we looking at? What will we give more weightage to? So yes, so number one, we will give weightage to the program in which we will say, okay, what is the function? You know, how important is that function? How pressing is the need which you are fulfilling? Okay, so think about that. Why, when you're setting up some building, some space for some activity, you have to explain why it is important to set up that space for that activity. You know, because, oh, there's just no space. You know, it's a small play school, and they would be happy if they can have this because they are growing, and they cannot really build a room because that's too costly. So we are pitching this idea to them that almost at 1/10 of the cost of the room, I'm giving you, you know, targets which you can hit for. At 1/10 the cost of a real room, you can have that much space and, you know, just do all the activities you want. So that is important. What is the need you're fulfilling? Okay. After that, in the design of that space and in the use after that space is built, how much of engagement is there of both the participating team and of the users ultimately. So engagement of participating team, what we want to see there is that if you can actually build the team which is participating, if they can actually build the whole thing with their own hands without engaging anybody from outside, then that would be fantastic. You built it with your own hands with materials which almost cost nothing. Okay, that would be great, right? But even if you're not building with your own hands, then can you engage the community you are building for? If you're building for the school, can you get help from the students of the school or from the teachers of the school? Or even if not just that immediate committee which is going to use it, maybe even wonderful if you can get parents of the students also involved. If they are also willing to say that, okay, I will come, you know, on Sunday and I will give you 6 hours of my time. So figure out something which I can do. So if there are instances like that, that would be something positive and we will judge based on that. And finally, our criteria is very simple. That is, it's a numeric criteria and we want you to pay very good attention to that. And that criteria is that you have to keep account. You have to keep account of what is being spent. Okay. And the less you spend, the better it is. So that what is the actual cost that was incurred to create that structure is something on which we will judge. The lower it is, the better it is. And then you have to compare your cost per square meter of built floor area to the standard cost in your location, wherever you are, whichever city or, you know, town or whichever state, region, wherever you are, district, wherever you are, that will have a government fixed plinth area rate. Every place has such a rate. Okay. The state PWD announces that, you know, in this period, the plinth area rate of construction, which is the conventional construction, which PWD does, which is the, you know, brick and concrete and so on. The plinth area rate for that kind of construction is this X per square meter. Okay. And you have to give us what is your fraction. That our cost is 0.25x. Now the wonderful one will be one which says my cost is actually 0.025x. Because the material, it was there, it was lying there, we just picked it up and then we assembled it here and then we built it up with our own hands. So what did we pay for? We only paid for the rickshaw to get the material from there to here. Okay. And yes, little bit of this and that, wires and ropes, as I said, and then maybe some roof covering sheet, and that's all we spent. The rest of it was all free. Okay. So this is to be accounted for. So you have to show us the accounts that yes, this is all the money was spent on it, and this is how it compares to the conventional construction. Okay. So these are all the objective criteria for judging. The non-so-objective criteria for judging, of course, is that which makes a better impression. That will be finally the the tipping point. So you may have everything, but if you come out with a building which is not attractive, if you come out with a building which the people out there or the journalists out there will not write about in their papers, something which does not create the photo ops, something which does not prompt people to come in front of it and take their selfies and do this and do that and all that in front of it, then you're not getting it. Okay, so that building has to be attractive to look at. It has to generate the buzz about, oh my God, look at it, this is so unconventional. Look, oh my God, look at it, this is made with so less cost. Okay, and the local journalists, the local press should be actually writing about it. All right, and the local people must want you to do it in some other place. Oh, this is so wonderful. You come and please do one for us also. Now, if that starts to happen, then we know we are onto a good thing. Then we know that this trend is catching on. And why is it important for the trend to catch on? Why it is important for the trend to catch on is because today, this is the middle of 2023. 23 years of this century have already passed. You all probably were born after 2000. Okay, so I'm much older than you. I'm 65. So for us, it was a wonder. Oh, we will all see the turn of the century. We were all born in the 20th century and we were feeling, something great is going to happen when the 21st century happens. So all our targets were fixed for the 21st century. When the 21st century happens, then this much will happen, and then carbon footprint will come down and energy consumption will come down, and we will do this and we will do that. Now, 23 years of the 21st century have already gone and very little has been done. And by architects, I would say the least has been done, because we have been the slowest in changing what we do. Most of the places, apart from the metropolitan areas, the very, very big cities and the very, very big projects where the technology of construction and the material being used has undergone a very major transformation, but the rest of the world, and I'm not just talking of India, the rest of the world, we are still using the same methods, same materials, the same earth harming technologies that we were using 50 years ago, 100 years ago. And for that reason, architecture and architects are getting, downgraded with every passing year. So all the time when you have a problem, when you hear stories about, oh, but what is there for me to do? I'm not getting a good salary. What is the project? I'm not getting any good project to do. What is that? Is because we are not adding value. We are not out there in front. We are not there who are inventing things. We are just doing things in the same way again and again and again. So the leadership of new ideas, of new ways to do things has to come back to the architect. This is not to say that architects only are the people who can find the new ways. And that's the other important part. Architects have to be smart enough or get the smartness back in which they can engage with a whole lot of other expert people. This is what the architect was always supposed to do. The architect is not supposed to be the expert at everything. But look at your education. In that education, you taught a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that, a little bit of that, some structure, some history, some art. That's not to make you an expert at all these things. You can't be. But the idea was to get some basic understanding so that you can engage with people who have this expertise. And from them, you can extract the stuff. You can extract the technology. You can extract the know-how with which you can then put it all together to make your design or make your building. So the idea of collaboration is very important here. And that's why we are saying that your teams can have people from any discipline. So if we are saying that you have to be at least 5 people, choose your 5 people carefully. So in these 5 people, you have to be having somebody who is, okay, let's start from the back end. So there has to be somebody who is damn good at making videos. Okay, you have to have somebody who is a nice editor, cut, sound, morph karna, ye karna, wo karna. Somebody has to be good at that. That's your presentation, the video. Okay, so you have to have somebody who's good at that. You have to have somebody who's good at numbers. Remember the estimate. It's a very important part of the judgment criteria. So somebody good at numbers. Okay, you have to have somebody who can go and talk to people to part with their stuff without asking for money. Okay, so good PR. Somebody who can go and you can say, uncle, please, this, that. Okay, this is so important, please, we'll take care of it. And, we'll put your name also there, donated by uncle so-and-so, whatever. So somebody good at PR, and of course, somebody good at design and somebody who can manage the construction. So definitely, I would say there are 5 different disciplines which have to come together. But maybe there are more. So maybe you need a team of 7. Go ahead, have a team of 7. There's no restriction on the number of people. All right. So, but it should not be all people who think that they are all great designers and you just sit together and you fight amongst yourself as to what the design should be, and then nothing happens. That's a bad team. Right? So it's like cricket team. Okay, you need good 2 openers, and you need at the same time good 2 opening bowlers. Also, you need a damn good wicket keeper. So India for a long time had this great fortune of having the wicket keeper captain. What was the advantage? The advantage was that that guy was there on the field all the time, and he was looking at everything from the best possible angle. So he was the wicket keeper also, and he was the captain also. Okay, so choose something like that. And then we had the guys who would save the wicket and stay there and not lose a wicket. And on the other hand, you had guys who would, knowing that the other guy is going to keep the wicket, this guy would go out and slog. And his job was to slog. And if he wouldn't slog, he was glued his place in the side. Okay. So all different roles everybody played. And that's how the cricket team selection is done. So make your team selection in the same way. This is not just about doing a design and making beautiful drawing about it and then writing some very big words about it. No, this is just one part of it. The bigger part of it is actually putting it there, putting it up, getting people to use it, and then saying what a wonderful thing you have done. All of this should be there in the video. And starting today, you have how many days? I think about 50 days, right? 50 or 51 days you have. That's all. So this 50 or 51 days you have before you actually turn in your video and your rest of your presentation. Your submittal must come in on the 30th of September. I suppose midnight. We'll allow time till midnight. So we typically allow the submissions to come in till 11:59 at night. Okay. The moment it becomes 12:00:00, you are out. All right. So take care of that. What this calls for? This calls for very, very good time management. So starting now, right after I have finished faffing, you have to get to work. I'm sure you are not the guys who are going to get to work, but you have to get to work to get your teams going wherever they are. All right. I suppose you're all unit secretaries and all that. So you have to immediately convey back to your fellows in your college that, hey guys, this is what is happening and your time starts now. The clock starts ticking. Please start it just now. Okay. And these are the things that we need to do straight away. Let's get a team together. And these are all the things which are required in the team. Let's put it together and start right away. Okay. So your time, including the design and the construction, and at least 1 hour, please, at least 1 hour of use. It would be good if it is 1 day, and it would be even better if it is 1 week, but at least 1 hour of use. After the structure has been put up and somebody came and cut the ribbon and you clap, clap, clap. And after that, 1 hour of use. Just keep in mind, people come, they touch, they feel. If there is something place to sit down, they sit and they talk. Okay. And then they give you bites, which you will record, which will be part of your video. And then you have to have time to edit that video. Okay. Why that guy is so important, and that finally the guy who's going to put that video together is a very, very important guy. But we are saying that need not be an architecture student. You can actually contract a video professional to say that 30th September, boss, we will give you all the stuff by 7:30 in the evening. Okay. और हमको 10:30 तक तू बना के दे दे पूरा video. All right. That kind of guy you have to have on your team. So time management is the key. Time management is the key. Why? Because professionally also, time management is the key. In college, time management is always there. A deadline is always there. A schedule is always there. But the issue is that you are not dead at the deadline. Deadline happens and you cross the deadline and you still come back. Oh, please, can we do something about it? So the real death of the deadline does not happen in college, but in real life it happens. If you're not done the stuff by the deadline, number one, you will lose your project. B, you might actually forego some fees. C, you might actually not meet the deadline for something to be constructed. And then not only you will forego fees, you might be required to pay some penalty. Okay. And if it's an issue of safety, maybe some accident will happen because you did not submit the safety plan in time. So all kinds of things will happen if the deadline is not met. So this is also an important part of this competition, is that the deadline has to be met. And you have to work very hard towards it. It's part of the discipline we want to inculcate. Right? So teamwork, selection of the team, time management, meeting the deadline, right? These are important, very, very important parts of this competition. The other conditions of the competition in terms of your exact eligibility, how you are going to prove your eligibility, and there is also, we are saying that every unit, every member college can have one entry, which is the official college entry. Okay, but besides that, if you're a particularly bright set of people and who are saying that no, this is not fair, we have so many different ideas, so we are not stopping you. Okay, so apart from the one official college entry, which maybe your college faculty or whoever will choose as the best representative, the others can also participate. So they will not be the official college entry, they will be a non-official college entry. Okay, and in this case, we are saying that the official college entry participates for free. They don't have to pay any fee. Okay, but the non-official ones, the ones who still want to participate, even though the college did not select them, they are also welcome, but they have to pay a small fee. Okay, so if you think your design is still damn good, right, or you're going to do a damn good design, because the registration has to be done before, if you are confident that regardless of what happens, we are going to do a damn good design, okay, so you register anyway with the fee. Okay, and then you will also become a participant in the competition. Okay, so these are the conditions, and then there are conditions for the format, how your sheets should be formatted, how your video should be formatted, okay, what all things must be there in the video, how your name should not appear in any part of your presentation in the video or on the sheets, and instead of your name, what should come. Okay, the logo of NASA, that should be visible, where it should be placed, the guidelines for that are there in the brief. Okay, so what is the form of your submittal, what it should really look like, what should be seen on it and what should not be seen on it, all of those are part of the standard guidelines. Please go through them carefully. They will give you a very good idea of your final product. So Nikhil, I have covered everything.
Yes,
Anything
sir.
missing?
Yes, sir. Just what you want in A2 sheets.
What I want?
Yeah, sir. So what would you be expecting in the sheets, A1 sheets we are
Yeah,
asking?
so in the sheets, what we are expecting, what we are expecting is number one, the justification for your site, the justification for your users, the justification for your program brief. I mean, how much your area you are providing for, what is the activity you're providing for. So some description of that should be there. Okay, that we decided to do this project. It's located in so and so place. These are going to be the users. This is their need. This is what they are going to do. And this is how we expect that our project is going to be so big. All right. So much of floor space it requires, so much of minimum height it requires, and so on. All right. It should have a description of the process that you went through. Now, in description of the process you went through, we are not talking about conceptual sketches and bubble diagrams and adjacency charts and how they translated into the final plan and so on. No, that's not the process I'm talking about. The process I'm talking about is that in doing the design, did only the team make the design, or what all sources did they consult? Okay, was there any inputs from the people they are going to make it for, their so-called clients, the user clients? Okay, or if they drew some inspiration from something else, no problem, draw your inspiration. Even if you want to copy something which has been done before, no problem. Okay, good copying is also an art which has to be learned, right? So that has to be there. Then the process of procuring the materials, where you went to look for the materials, okay, how you selected it, how you tested it for safety, okay, how did you test it for strength, if you did, and then finally the process of building which was adopted. Okay. Was it nut bolt technology, or are you using dry construction, or are you using wet construction? Are you going to put things together with mortar or not? A brief description for that. Why a brief description? Because the video will speak for itself. So it's there in the video already. We're just saying that because the jury will need to have a a backup displayed somewhere. So your two sheets will be like a report, a written report of what you did. And your sheets must contain, I think it will take about 1/4 of one A1 sheet, in which you have to disclose your accounts. Okay. So the table of costs must be there, how you derive the cost, how you come to the per square meter cost, and finally compared to the PAR of wherever you are. We are in Shivmoga or wherever you are, Tumkur, I don't know. In that place, this is the PAR here, and compared to that, our building costs so much. So that will be the bottom right-hand corner of sheet 2. At the bottom, you have to say that we have proved that it's possible to build this building with all this material, which is already used once and therefore has no value. Okay. In fact, it will take more money to dispose of it, but we have made use of it in a building which was required to be built. So you're not just building this building for fun. Okay. That's the first point, the immediacy of the need which you're fulfilling. It needs to have the requirement. There needs to be the requirement. That building needs to be built. That's the top left-hand corner of sheet 1. The bottom right-hand corner of sheet 2 should say that this building required to be built, and we have built it at a fraction of the cost which would have been if we went by the PA. In between, what the process was, that's what is required to be described in brief. And you can have with it tables, you can have charts, you can have sketches, you can have all kinds of graphics, you can have actually pictures, and those pictures can be pictures of anything which help us to relate. If they are pictures of your structure while it is being made, they are pictures of a structure which is something else altogether, but it is a good illustration of what you're trying to say. So all of this is permitted. All right. So on the two sheets, it's a textual account of what the video will show. Now, in the video, obviously, the idea is not to scan down your cost estimate. That's not going to serve any purpose. Okay. In the video, it will be important to just show the bottom line. Okay. What is important to show in the video is that if you are using any important process, so for example, we went to some place, and that junkyard, we found 40 used, broken bumpers of some car. Insurance company का junkyard होता है ना, उसमें it has all these things. And so we went there, we picked these used bumpers, how we selected them. They were not all of the same make. So we categorized them. This one we'll use for this one for that, this one for that. So if this is a process, I'm just giving you an example. If this is a process we went through, make sure to capture it in the video, right? And we brought it to the site, and this is the process we are using to join them together. What did you join them with? Okay. So if they are made of some plastic material or rubber material, what did you join them with? If there's also a physical joint, you put some nuts, bolts to join them. How did you do that? Show that process. That will be close-up videos, right? So all of these processes, which were processes as part of the construction, that is more important to capture in the video. The video will have the introduction, the video will have the end. Okay. In the end, they will come and so thankful Rahul and Satya for making this structure. Our children are so happy. They will give some bite. That's important in the video. So your introduction, what you are doing, and this is how we did it. That should be the body of the video, and in the end should be at the end of it. This is what we got, and this is what people think of it. Right. So that's the body of the video. Now you can ask me questions if there are any.
Whatever design you have. Yeah. So yeah. So whatever structure you want to construct or whatever design you have, before constructing on site, because it would be at some public space or it won't be on someone's private property for sure. Before constructing, it's your responsibility that you take prior permission from the concerned authority. So that portion you all need to take care of. And when you are telling everything to your fellow mates, make sure you are passing this information as well. Does anyone have any question?
That is it is about the eligibility criteria. So, as sorry, told, one entry from any associated college would be a free entry and official entry. So, my question was if the associated college, like if they are combining with other departments to reach from the same college, would that still be considered an official free entry or would that be a non-official?
So if there are two units, let's say, both of them are combining their entry, a single entry. Other unit is doing another entry as well. So let's say unit A and unit B both are combining one entry, and unit A is doing another entry as well. So that entry can go under unit B's name, and the other entry which unit A is already doing can be go under group A, college A's name. So anyway, it can be done. Means and ways are always accepted. You can find.
Okay, but my query was, like, for example, I come from a university where there are different disciplines, different departments.
Yeah.
So, since this trophy is open to any department, if like our architecture department is combining with the civil department, but architecture is associated with NASA. So, if the civil department is involved, would that be an official entry?
Yeah, it can be an official. So one entry you can do as an official entry where you can do whatever team you want to make, you can.
Okay, so there's like one associated member, then anybody in that team still can accepted as an option. And another query, there is no specific area specification, it's just like minimum 6 numbers. So the area specification is like no minimum or maximum, like in terms of square feet or meters, is there something?
Sir, so my question is there any minimum built-up area required for the construction?
Right. So there is no minimum built-up area required, right? All we have said is that 6 people. So 6 people could be doing anything. You can say that, all we want is 6 people. They should come here at night and they should sleep. So, sorry. So if only 6 people have to come here at night and they have to sleep, then you know how much space they need. They just need space equal to 1 3-tier sleeper compartment of a train. 6 people can sleep in that, right? So it can be as small as that. On the other hand, you can say that, we need space where 6 people can practice dance. Then probably you need bigger space. So it's not as if you need to construct a minimum square meter area. It can be as small as you can make it, provided it is adequate for the activity chosen. Is that a good answer? Does that answer your question? In terms of how big it should be. Now, while we are saying that there's no limit on how big it can be, you can just make it as big as you can. But there are other limits which will come into play. It has to be built within time, 50, and it has to be built with low cost. Okay? And it has to be built in a place where they allow you to build. So all of these constraints will come into play, and you will, because of this, if not for any other reason, not build something which is too big. So as a guidance, Nikhil, I'm going to just put in a figure here because I think it will help everybody to understand. As a guidance, okay? Just you can imagine that whatever you are doing, it can fit into a box of 6 meters by 6 meters by 6. Okay. In a box like that, there is tremendous amount of space to do many things. Okay. And of course, if you use it diagonally, then even a dimension which is greater than 6 meters, it's possible. All right. So I would just say, imagine something which fits into that. So that will help you to realize what scale you're talking about.
Any other question? Can someone pass on the mic?
Good afternoon, I'm Hanshvardan from Masters College, 356. My query is that is this structure, can it be indoors? Like in a big hall, can it be a small structure or does it need to be an outdoor structure?
So, sir, his question is, should it be indoor structure or can be indoor structure or should be an outdoor structure?
It can be both. It can be an outdoor structure that you built it on open ground, or you can build it on a terrace, or it can be something which is inside a hall.
All right, yes.
It might be a big hall which is being used for a convention, or something else is going on, and inside that you are making maybe a display stall or something. Okay. So inside the structure can be inside another structure also. That is possible.
Z389 you mentioned that it needs to be a public place where people would want to go. But then you also said that it's only for 6 people. What if our design idea can cater to more people and we want to extend our design, to extend the scale of our design? Can we do that?
as we mentioned that it should cater to minimum six people per group, and at similar time it should be at some public space or something. So can they accommodate more number of people than six what you
Yes,
mentioned?
yes. If you think that this is an activity of more than 6 people, no problem. You want to put a group of 20, go ahead, put it. Okay. But all we are saying is that everything else should be possible. So whatever space you're thinking for 20 people, you think that all of that is going to be built within this time that we are talking about, and you have enough recycled material collected in this time, or reused or material, or discarded material you can collect within this time to build this structure for 20 people, and nobody has any objection to the amount of space you're using, go ahead, no problem.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir. Sir, 25 I have two questions for you. The first, like the design we are going to, the thing we are going to design, is it necessary that it has to be a like new individual structure, or we can design it in a structure or in an existing building? And the second question is,
So our question is, should it be a new design entirely, or it can be some extension of some other building or other structure?
That please say it again. I don't get it.
So question is, should it be entirely a new design, or it could be an extension for some structure or some building, uh, not an independent, entirely new structure?
Okay. So it can be entirely, it can be standalone. It can be completely separated, totally detached from anything, and it can be freestanding by itself. That's a possibility. It can be an extension to an existing building. Okay. It can even take support from an existing building. So if there is a building standing and there's ground next to it, and you want to make an extension of that, and something you'll have to use the wall of the existing structure for supporting some member of your structure. That's also possible. That's also allowed. So it can be an extension of an existing building. You had another question, second question.
actually, I have like the next question is you discussed about the accounts, right? So, in the composition of sheets, can you like elaborate more how to like, compose the accounts and that everything?
She's asking how should they incorporate table of costing and all the accounts, and how should they compose that into the event sheets?
How to
Compose those the data into event sheets.
compose the sheets? Oh, you compose it when I have given you the top left-hand corner, what should be there, and I have given you what should be there in the bottom right-hand corner. After the rest of it, you compose it in any which way you like. You want to divide those sheets into boxes, and put things into boxes, up to you. You want to use the two sheets. I can tell you that the most likely the two sheets, when they are displayed, will be one on top of the other. So it will be like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Whenever they are displayed, that's the most 99%, that's the possibility. So if the sheets have to be such that they are read from sheet 1 starting top left hand corner, flowing down to the bottom right hand of the sheet 2. And in that, any kind of composition you like, it can be free flowing, it can be, sketches and cloud of text here and a little bit of cloud of text here and like that, whichever you like. It's your uh, choice, your graphic sensibility, which has to come in. We're not saying that use only black and white or only use color. You want to do it in any color you want, go ahead and do it. That's not important. That's not something to worry about. Just do it the way you like to show it. That's all.
Sir, I have one more question actually. So, if we do the construction in a college premise, like of course, with the college permission, it will be considered.
Uh, can they build something in their college premises itself?
Yes, yes, absolutely. You can do something in your college itself.
Like as a public building.
As a, sorry,
Public building.
as a public building, could they consider the college also as a public building?
Inside your college, if you can make a public building, I mean, first of all, there are, if it's for use of students, that's already public. Okay. If it's something which you are using in such a way that visitors to the college can also see it. Okay. They can also come and use it for something, right? Then that's even better.
There would be one criteria from NASA that shouldn't reveal your college identity. I don't know how would you take care of it if you are doing it in your constructing it in your college premises.
Okay, thank you. That is fine to know. I'm clear about what should be in the sheet, but again, there's a report, A4 size report that we need to submit. So what exactly should be the content of the report?
Sir, apart from sheets, what they are supposed to put into the report size report?
So, this entire thing which is there in your sheets, you have to also submit a PDF. So in terms of report, when you're talking of report, your sheets themselves, the soft copy of those sheets is your report, right? So it is not something that has to be page 1, page 2. That's not really necessary. The important thing which you will catalog is your PDF. Everything will be stored in soft copy. Let's be clear about it. NASA doesn't have the space to every year stack printed. No. So everything will be stored in the cloud. Everything will be stored in soft copy. So your PDF and your video is what will be your presentation. Your PDF will be stored. Your video is already on YouTube. Okay. And it will be made public after the competition. Till that time, it is the link will be not made public.
Z6 moment. It's regarding how do you need to calculate the cost of the building infrastructure. And they also mentioned like you need to compare it with the building. You need to compare it with the building cost when you use the contemporary style of architecture. I think you mentioned it. So I need to elaborate the cost calculating it.
It's up to you. Whatever material you are using, you have to calculate. So I don't know how.
It's about like the 0.85.
Yeah, so whatever construction cost you have, and whatever the construction cost in your total area is going to have, it will realization of what
Okay, thank you.
fine. I guess we can conclude this. Anyway, we have query set and other things with us. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for elaborating such and having such a great session with us. And I guess we can conclude this now.
So we conclude this meeting.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, sir. Have a good day.
Liquid, that one to 3 years. We didn't understand that it will fall apart. But we